So the next question says, if real GDP and aggregate expenditures are less than equilibrium expenditures, firms' inventories blank, so firms blank production and real GDP blanks. So what we have here is a situation we can depict on the dynamic aggregate demand aggregate supply model, right? So we have long run aggregate supply, which is also known as potential GDP, and we say real GDP and aggregate expenditure is less than equilibrium expenditure. So we have a recessionary or contractionary gap. We have demand, we have short run aggregate supply, and we have Q1, which is less than Q star. And so this is our situation, right? We have this recessionary gap. There's real GDP and aggregate expenditure is less than the equilibrium expenditure, which is at long run aggregate supply. So the question is, what happens first to firms' inventories? So if aggregate expenditure is low, then what that means is that not all the things that are being produced by producers is being sold. And so if producers have produced 100 units and only 90 units are sold, the last 10 units don't get disposed of, they get added to firms' inventory for next year. And so firms' inventories are going to go up when we have low aggregate expenditure. So the next question is, okay, so we've established that inventory has increased. We've eliminated, this is a really weird numbering system. We eliminated the first and second answer choices. We're left with the third and fourth. What happens to production then? So if inventories have gone up, that means that firms no longer have a need for production at a high level because they have leftover inventory that they can still sell from previous production cycles. And so the current production that firms go through might decrease as well. So we have firms are going to increase their inventories and decrease their production. Okay, so we haven't eliminated anything else yet. Both 3 and 4 still say decrease for production. So what happens to real GDP? And so it seems to be a very straightforward link to say that if firms are have lower production, then production is linked to output, then overall output is going to decrease as well. And so we have our final answers should say if real GDP and aggregate expenditure are less than equilibrium expenditure, then firms' inventories increase, so firms decrease production and real GDP decreases. And that's going to match up with answer choice 3. Let's take a look at the previous tutor's answer. So the previous tutor said, when the aggregate planned expenditure is equal to the real GDP, the economy is said to be operating at the level of equilibrium expenditure. If aggregate expenditures are less than real GDP, it means that all that is being produced is not being consumed. This leads to an increase in firms' inventories. With increasing inventories of unsold units, firms decrease their level of production. As the level of production decreases, the real GDP decreases as well with a decrease in output, and equilibrium is restored in the long run. So this is going to be a good answer choice. I don't believe there's anything missing from this. You can say good answer and move on to the next question.